They said they will retry the detective who killed Breonna Taylor. It ended in a mistrial. I will explain this. Put up the picture of the late Breonna Taylor. Remember this? This happened in Kentucky. Federal prosecutors told a judge Wednesday they will retry the former Louisville police detective Brett Hankison after a jury last month. They were deadlocked on 2 counts of the civil rights violations and use of excessive force stemming from his actions the night of that raid that led to her death. On November 16th, a jury deliberated for about 20 hours, over 4 days. They heard evidence, 7 days of testimony. U.S. District Court Judge Rebecca Grady, Jennings declared a mistrial when the juror said they had, quote, concluded deliberating and could not find a unanimous ruling among them. Put his picture up. Now, the jurors said that they were deadlocked on both charges. Now, this is Wednesday. A prosecutor told Judge Grady Jennings they want to retry Hankison sooner rather than later. His attorneys said he may choose to add to his defense team or replace them altogether. One of his attorneys, Wes Matthews, is retiring. This was going to be my last rodeo, he said. A status hearing will be scheduled January 24th to decide whether Hankison will change attorneys, among other issues. The judge set a tentative trial date for October. Quote, I think it needs to get retried as soon as possible. She said Grady Jennings had wanted to schedule the trial for July, but the attorneys had conflicts. Immediately after the November trial ended, attorney Lanita Baker, who represents Breonna Taylor's family, said to reporters that prosecutors told the family they were planning to retry the cop, all right, Hankison. Quote, the family is disappointed, she told reporters. This is not the outcome they wanted, but we are here for the long game. We live for another day to fight for justice for Breonna. The charges stem from a botched raid, March 13th, 2020, of Taylor's home. This was in the middle of the night, in which police officers decided to bust down a door, serve a search warrant related to a drug dealer who lived 10 miles away. When this happened, her boyfriend was at the house, assumed somebody was trying to rob them, kill them, harm them. So he did what anyone would do to protect his significant other. He started shooting because he had a gun next to him. When police decided to bust into that home, Breonna Taylor's boyfriend, Mr. Kenneth Walker, fired a shot that hit Sergeant John Mattingly in the leg. Walker has said he believed the couple were being robbed, and so he acted accordingly. Multiple Metro police officers returned fire. It killed 26-year-old Taylor. Obviously, no drugs were found in the home. They still arrested him. They eventually dropped his charges. Her death, along with George Floyd's, resulted in months of protest, both local and nationally, over police brutality, racial discrimination, and the likes. The federal trial was about Hankison firing 10 times. Now, this is a real difference in how you do policing, and he's going to admit to it. So he fired 10 times from outside of Taylor's apartment through a covered sliding glass door and blinded windows into her bedroom window, with 3 bullets flying into an adjacent apartment where Cody Etherton, Chelsea Napper, and the 5-year-old child lived. Now, he was charged with that initially. Wanton endangerment is what they called it, all right? So the irony was he's charged with wanton endangerment for other people, but there initially was no charge for the cop. So March 2022, a jury in a state criminal case found Hankison not guilty on 3 counts of wanton endangerment stemming from the shots fired into a neighboring apartment during the raid. Jurors deliberated for about 3 hours in that case. During the federal trial, LMPD officers testified that Hankison's actions on the night of the Taylor raid were, quote, shocking unfathomably dangerous and stomach churning, the prosecution said in closing arguments. He fired blindly, spraying bullets through 2 covered windows, ripping through walls into a neighboring apartment where a family and child were sleeping, say a prosecutor, Michael Songer. With the U.S. Department of Justice in its closing arguments, Hankison failed to isolate a target and acknowledged not being able to see who he was firing at or where exactly the person was, putting multiple lives in danger. Defense attorney Stu Matthews told jurors have to put themselves in Hankison's shoes at the time. Think about what he was seeing and experiencing as an officer. Was shot and dozens of bullets were fired after they burst into Taylor's home. He admitted he was mistaken. And the muzzle flashes were actually coming from Mattingly and Detective Cosgrove. And that Walker only fired 1 shot from his handgun at police. Quote, was I wrong that Mr. Walker shot more than 1? I know that now. I fired to stop the threat, sir. End quote. Okay? So what do we have here? He literally is shooting based on his own narrative because of the shots of the other cops. You understand? So he's shooting, saying, oh, I can see the person shooting at us. And what he's looking at, literally, is the shooting that other cops are doing toward 2 innocent people. And his response is, hey, listen, I thought I was doing the right thing here, all right? Get over it. It's insane. I'm glad the prosecutors are going to try this case again. Jordan, you don't see this typically in cases like this, right? Where a prosecutor immediately says they are going to retry a cop of all people, but this prosecutor did.
Yeah, thankfully. We'll see how it goes. You know, I struggle to get excited about these types of cases because it just seems like justice is few and far between. But another detail about that case that I just really want to stress is that whole search warrant was based on a lie.
That's right.
And the cop pleaded guilty to falsifying evidence to justify that warrant, saying that a postal inspector told them that Breonna Taylor was receiving packages of drugs on behalf of this drug dealer, which was not true. And then you just use a battering ram to go in. Like, we have to have a serious conversation about how the police operates, because they're reckless, they're sloppy, they're bad at their job, they're violent, they're indiscriminate with that violence. And this is the result. Someone who had nothing to do with any illegality is dead. I wouldn't say thankfully, but the silver lining is her death and George Floyd's death, unfortunately around the same time, sparked an international conversation and an uprising that helped wake a lot of people up about police brutality. And there's still a lot of work to do, but people learned in that moment. People changed how they see the police in that moment. And I hope they continue putting in the work and continue learning so we don't have to deal with these stories anymore.
That's right. Very well said. We will bring updates as soon as that trial date is official. All right.